I definitely did not expect to be doing this today because I was planning on recording my testimony years down the road when my business was more further down in experience, so I would have more of like a success story to tell, whatever that means, because when you're doing things for the Lord, it's always a beautiful and a good thing. The Lord called me to do this today. I am a little bit nervous to do this just because testimonies are a big deal for me. I want this to bring glory to the Lord and accurately depict what I went through and what he did, and just so it can like encourage others too. I'm just praying that he will bring things to mind that need to be said. Yeah, we're gonna do this. So where I think it's important to start is my senior year of college. I graduated from the Savannah College of Art and Design. I went to school in Atlanta. I was away for school for 4 years. I majored in film and TV. You know, I've always had a passion for making videos and video editing specifically. I started my own YouTube channel when I was, I think, like 11 years old. And from there I discovered like, wow, like this is what I really want to do. So I decided to go to school at SCAD. My senior year of college, I'm trying to do what everybody else is doing, right? I'm trying to look for jobs, going crazy because the world kind of instilled this standard in me that by the time that I graduate, I'm supposed to have a full-time job in the field that I got a degree in, I'm supposed to have an apartment. God didn't tell me any of this. I think I was comparing myself to other people who had graduated, and I was like, wow, like I need to have all these things. So all of that was going on in my head while I'm trying to apply for jobs, right? I was applying for jobs like crazy. Honestly, jobs that I didn't even really want to do, but I just felt like I needed something, you know? And my mom, trying to be the good mom that she is, she's encouraging me to apply, and she's like, you need to find a job, especially because this is an important part, but like I had and have a lot of student loans to pay off, so that aspect was really stressing me out. I find out about this video editing residency that my church that I was going to at the time was having. I saw like the application like on Instagram or something like that, so I decided to apply. Right off the bat, I was really rushed to doing this because I think the application was due in like, I think it was due that same day or the day after. I had to like film a video of myself, so I did that. I had to like write something, so I did that. It was just very, very rushed. I was like, wow, this is such a great opportunity. I love the church that I'm at right now. But I don't know, and I don't know how to describe this in earthly terms, but something in my spirit was just so unsettled. I didn't feel like I should, but at the same time, I really was just trying to do anything because I was like, I need something, you know, I was reaching for everything and anything. And compared to the other jobs that I was applying for, I actually did want to do this one. In order to do this residency, you would need somewhere to stay, you'd need a car. They weren't really paying me anything. It was not enough money for me to do all of that and be able to make the monthly payments for my loans. So I was like, man, like this sounds really impossible, but Lord, like you can do this. Like I know, like I have so much faith in you. Like if you want me to do this, like you'll provide me a car, you'll provide me a place to stay, you'll provide me with the money. But again, I still had that really uneasy feeling. I'm doing interviews. I think I got like to the 3rd round of interviews and then they rejected me. And I remember this was like the first job that absolutely crushed me when I found out that I didn't get it. I cried a lot because 3 rounds of interviews, I don't know how many rounds there were. I feel like there were maybe 4 or 5, but I was pretty close to the end. I was really upset at God. I was like, God, like why did you allow me to go through these interview processes? Like why? I prayed multiple times for him to shut it down if he didn't want this for me. Like on the first interview I prayed that and he let it go through. He let the second interview go through. He let me get a 3rd, and I was just very, very confused and hurt and frustrated. Eventually, I got over it. I decided to apply for a position at Daily Wire. Again, that same uneasy feeling came once I sent the application in. Like I'm telling you guys, like all of these jobs that I was applying for, I would start to get uneasy the second I pressed send on my application. Like it was this weirdest thing, but I ignored it because I was like, you know what? I need to do something. You know what I mean? Like I need to try. So, you know, I'm sending out applications. I apply to Daily Wire. I get an interview. They liked me in the interview. Still, I'm feeling uneasy. And the job was in Tennessee or something. And I even was like looking for apartments in Tennessee. I was like, oh yeah, I could see myself living here. Girl, no. I was trying to convince myself that this is actually what I wanted, you know what I mean? I did good in the interview, so then they send me a test edit. And this is where it all starts to go wrong because I'm working on the test edit, and if you guys know Daily Wire, you know that they focus on sort of like political, like world issues, sometimes from a Christian lens. I was doing the test edit, and I felt so uneasy during it, mostly because I felt like what I was editing wasn't me. The stuff that I was editing was more so on like the harsher side. Like I would never edit something that's like kind of dissing someone, or like, you know what I mean? Like it was too much for me. Like I did not feel comfortable. At the end of it, I was like, I did not like what I just had to do. At the end of that, I was like, okay, God, like I hear you. I don't think that this opportunity is for me. So shortly after that, I went on a walk to, I think I was going to the grocery store or something, because I don't have a car. So I walked to get my groceries while I was in school. And while I was on my walk, I got a good talking to by the Lord. And I feel like this is really where it was a pivotal moment for me. He told me, number one, that I was putting all of my trust and stability in finding a job. The job was going to make me feel safe. The job was going to make me feel stable, which is not good. The second thing he told me was similar to the first. I was idolizing a job, and I was going crazy doing everything and anything I could to find a job, even if it was something that I didn't want to do. Like I wasn't even really asking God before applying to jobs. I was just doing it because I thought this is what I was supposed to do. And honestly, if you think about it, God never told me to look for jobs either. Like I didn't even consult him in that. I just thought that since that's what all my peers are doing, that's what my mom's telling me to do, that's what I think I should do it. Then the third thing he told me, which really, really shocked me, he told me to stop looking for jobs altogether. And I literally was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I can't not look for jobs. I really thought that I heard him wrong, but there was so much peace when he laid that on my heart. And it's interesting because like at the same time he told me that, I felt like the Holy Spirit was putting up like this huge red stop sign in front of me. I didn't understand, but I did understand that I was basically hurting myself. Like this wasn't God's doing, because he was giving me this discernment in the very beginning when I was applying for jobs to not, because I would get that uneasy feeling, but I went ahead and did it anyways, and it caused me unnecessary pain. I was like, Lord, I'm sorry. Like you were trying to warn me about this stuff. You literally quite told me not to apply for jobs as I was applying for them, and I didn't listen. I was obedient. I didn't look for jobs for, I don't know how long it was, but I think it was like a couple months. It was very hard because I felt like I was behind. But at the same time, while I was not applying for jobs, I was really, really trying to put my trust in the Lord, and he was teaching me how to just rest in him and how he will provide, basically. And my family didn't really understand it either. I think it's also important to mention here, I did have a job. Shocker. You'd think like I'm freaking out so much because I'm like jobless, but I did have a job, and I still am working at this job currently. But my thing is this job wasn't like a full-time job. It's very much like a little bit more than part-time job. So in my mind, like that still isn't enough. I'm like, I need a full-time job to be able to pay for everything, you know, like this isn't sufficient. When it is sufficient, because whatever the Lord gives you in this time, that means that it is sufficient for now. And it was. And I had to remember that. I'm going through all of this. It's a very difficult time. I'm still nervous about, you know, like when God tells you something, like, you know in your spirit that that's what he said, but at the same time there's that little bit of doubt that's there of like, did he really say that, you know? And like, am I missing out sitting here doing nothing when I should be doing something? Not nothing, because you know I was working, but it wasn't enough for me, you know. I want to say around June or July, I came across this YouTube video, and it was of this girl who was a freelance video editor. I had subscribed to her before, and I think I watched one of her videos about that before, but I didn't put much thought into it. Like I just watched it like a normal YouTube video. I'm watching this girl on YouTube. I'll put her like channel up in the video that I was watching. Guys, like I'm telling you, I don't know how to, I never know how to explain like the heavenly things that go on earth, you know what I mean? And inside our bodies, like it doesn't make any sense, but the amount of passion I felt right in that moment, and I felt like God dropped a huge light bulb in me and it was on fire. Like that's the best way I can describe it, is like he gave me something in that moment, and I just felt like, what if I did that too? Like what if I started my own business, like video editing for other creators, you know? I don't know, man, like this was just different. I just felt it, and like I felt like the Lord just dropped this huge idea on me and I had to do something about it. Previous to this, the sentence own a business never came out of my mouth, and it wasn't in my heart either. That's something that I didn't want to do. I would not consider myself a leader. In fact, I hated leading things. I always envisioned myself working in an office, a cubicle, or, you know, a video editing suite by myself working for other people. That was in my mind. Like, that's what my plan was, you know. I thought I was going to be working under someone or working for a company. And then suddenly everything started to fall into place. I started to realize why the Lord told me to stop looking for jobs, because my calling wasn't in any of the jobs that I could apply for. It was in a job that he was going to make for me, one that he would call me to start on my own, which is so much cooler and so much better and so much more beautiful than I could have planned for myself. At the same time, I was like, Lord, like, this isn't me. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not someone who can lead a business. Like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know what funds I'm gonna need. Like, how am I gonna pay for this? Like, you know, I'm in a lot of debt. You know, I don't have a full-time job. Like, how? You know, that was like my biggest question. Like, how? But over time, like, the Lord would just give me confirmation that this is what he wanted for me, through other people, through sermons, just like an overwhelming sense of peace. I feel like that was the biggest telltale sign for me. I didn't lose passion for it. In fact, I got more passionate about the vision that he gave me, and the peace just, it was like anybody could go against me type thing, and I would just have so much peace and just think, no, like, this is the Lord. This is what the Lord told me to do, so I'm gonna do it. I started working on it. I think the first thing that I had to figure out was a name, because how can you have a business without a name? So I started praying and I started asking the Lord. I was like, okay, God, like, if you want me to do this, then I'm gonna need you to help me, like, big time, because I don't know what I'm doing. It was maybe like a couple days after that I asked him to help me with a name. I literally was just washing dishes and the name came to me. So, spoiler alert, my business is called For Him by Us, video content for his glory made by us. I stopped washing dishes. I just like paused and I was like, God, was that you? Honestly, like, that's a good name. Like, if that's you, like, I'm with it. I like that name. I kind of just ran with it and took it because I was like, you know what, this truly feels like it's from God, so I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, and then like, he really just started to, I've never seen God answer so quickly so many times in regards to something that I've been praying about and seeking him about. On July 22nd, he told me what I should do. I kind of like already knew, but he gave me like my mission, which is to provide video editing services for content creators. I started planning everything. I, you know, did some research. God really like came through and gave me wisdom on what things I can use that are free to help build up my business and to help work with my clients. He helped me figure out prices. And you know, like, when you're starting a business, I quickly realized that I wasn't gonna really know everything or know how to do everything until I actually had a client and got to work with them, and then realized like what I planned that was working and what needed to be tweaked. And let me tell you, a lot of things needed to be tweaked. A lot of questions that were asked that I didn't know the answer to. There were a lot of problems that came up in the future that I had to solve that I didn't take into account. The Lord helped me through it all. He was so intimately communicating with me and with me in it. I remember I wanted to start drafting up like Instagram posts and I was having trouble with that, but he helped me figure out like a creative and informative way of marketing myself on Instagram. I didn't actually start posting anything at this point, but I wanted to cue things up so that when I launched, I would have something to be able to post. And he helped me figure out a color scheme. He helped me use Photoshop for the first time because I wanted to create my own logo and I didn't have money to like hire someone. I did it myself, and I remember feeling so proud of myself that like I used Photoshop. Like, it was in the most basic way, but I hated Photoshop. I hated it because I didn't know how to use it. I'm learning. And it's crazy because I had since I went to SCAD, they gave me like a free bundle of like all the Adobe apps, and I still had it for like the beginning of the summer. So by the time the Lord put the dream on my heart to start a business, I still had access to Photoshop and stuff, so I didn't have to pay for it. But then right after I finalized my logo, I lost the access to it. It's all God's timing. So I really went through some, I don't want to say like spiritual warfare, but of course I had my doubts because one of my main concerns was who on earth is going to want to work with me? Who on earth is going to want to pay me to edit for them? Like, there were just so many lies and like assumptions going on in my head. You know, number one, of course, there's always that doubt of like, am I even doing the right thing? Am I even doing, like, did I just make this all up? Like, even though there were multiple confirmations, like, I still had that doubt. It comes time that like I'm pretty much like done. Like I feel like I've done everything that I could, and at this point I'm just waiting around for who knows what. Like I'm like, okay, I have my contracts set up, I have this set up, but I haven't launched yet. So I go on one of my prayer walks that I love going on prayer walks, and I go to this specific bench to talk to God. So I went there. I remember just asking him like, okay, Lord, like I feel like I've done all I can do, and at this point I'm just sitting here. Should I mean, like, it's almost the end of 2024, so should I wait till like 2025 to launch? And immediately when I said that, I heard you're launching this month. And I was like, I forgot to mention, this is October 1st, I think, 1st or 2nd, like the first week of October. Immediately when I heard that, I started to think, and I was like, okay, that does make a lot of sense because I'm ready to launch. Why would I need to wait like 3 or 4 more months to do that? Like I feel like that's just wasting time and being disobedient at that point. And number 2, I still have the rest of this month, so I'm still not being rushed. I just felt the Lord wanted me to launch on the 28th. Like that was just, I don't know. Sometimes I just like to say that like I'm a knower. Like I can't really explain to you how I know, but God just communicates to me and I just know that that's what I'm supposed to do. So I knew that. I knew I was supposed to launch October 28th. And I was like, okay, well, realistically, I do have the rest of the month to make sure that everything is set, everything is in place, so that in the event that I do get a client, I'm ready. In preparation for launch, I decided to do a fast with my friends. I was fasting in the way that like I just wanted everything to go well. I wanted God to be in it. I set goals. I had so much faith, and I said one day, I was like, Lord, I have faith that you can give me a client on the first day that I launch. And when I thought about this, I was like, okay, do you know what you just prayed? Because you don't have anybody. Like I think I had set up my Instagram at this point, but I hadn't posted anything. And I was like, you have no followers on Instagram. Nobody really knows about your business except your family and like some friends. How on earth is that going to happen? You know what I mean? But again, I had so much faith. I was like, you know what? I believe that God can give me a client on the first day that I launch. I launch on October 28th. It was amazing. I think I had like a brownie and some ice cream, and I just like worshiped and read my Bible. Throughout the day, I was kind of like, well, like it's my first day of launch. Like I felt like I was going to get a client on my first day, but like the day's almost over and it still hasn't happened, which is okay. Like I held it so loosely, you know, like I really trusted the Lord with it. I was in my prayer closet, and I have this friend who I went to school with. We weren't like super close or anything, but she's like a Christian influencer. On the side, she will work with people to help edit their content. So she came to mind because we had just started talking again, which is the weird part. Like we didn't really talk once I left college. But we reconnected again. I forget how, but she started telling me about like some family issues that she was going through. So I started praying for her, and I just felt the Lord say, like, you need to check on her. I pick up my phone. I have already like 5 audio messages from this girl. Keep in mind, like, we're talking, but like not really. Like, we're not like besties at this point. I'm like, okay, God, like that's super weird. I'm listening to these audio messages that she left me. She's telling me about how she feels super weird because she feels that the Lord is telling her to give me her client. And when I tell you, my jaw dropped. I was like, there is no way. Like, yes, she knows I launched, but like, she doesn't know that I've been praying about this very specific thing. I'm losing my mind. I'm like, okay, like, chill though. It could still fall through. Like, you don't know what this is yet. I eventually end up telling her, like, girl, like, this is crazy, but I've been praying for this exact thing. She shows me this girl's account, and she seems super sweet, but the one thing that I noticed was that she wasn't a Christian. In fact, she is kind of like a little bit into New Age and stuff like that. So I was really unsure of myself. I was like, God, this scenario is crazy. Like, it has to be from you. There's no way that this isn't from you. But at the same time, I'm confused because I thought I was supposed to be working with pretty much like Christian content creators, and she's not. So the amount of warfare I went through with that was crazy. But at the end of it, I ended up talking with my friend, and she made a lot of really good points. And God really revealed to me that, he reminded me, he said, you said that with this business, you wanted to help bring people to my kingdom. And I was like, yeah, I did say that. Like, that is the goal. But I was thinking in the way of working with Christian content creators to edit their videos that will get put out into the world, and people who aren't saved will see them. But I wasn't thinking about the fact that I could be working with people who don't know Jesus and helping, plant seeds and things like that through the people that I work with. So he reminded me of that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been thinking so narrow-mindedly about who I would work with, when in reality, like, this is how you want me to spread your word. This is my ministry, I took her on as my client, and it was a great experience. I learned a ton. I truly believe that she really helped me figure out what it is like to own a business. Like, she very much felt like a trial run for me, but she was very merciful with me and gave me grace when I had to backtrack on things of oh, I know I said this, but I actually meant this, or can we change this? Because I was still figuring things out. The amount that I had to lean on the Lord in this is absolutely insane, because he was the only thing that was sustaining me. He's the only thing that could help me. I really, really was relying on him for literally everything. Yeah, but I was just, guys, I was so in awe of the fact that he came through. I fasted and prayed and sought the Lord about it. Not specifically about getting a first client. That's not even what my fast was about. It was just about, having my business be a holy thing and helping me be in alignment with his will. Things like that. It wasn't even about, Lord, give me a client on the first. No, I held that so loosely, but he was still so faithful, and he saw my faith about that, and he came through. I still can't believe it to this day that he did that for me. Eventually I did stop working with the first client. It was nothing bad. It was just something that I went through for a season. Like I said, I learned a lot from it. I'm very grateful that I had her as a client, but I think God was just trying to move me in a different direction. And he gave me a lot of revelation through her. She was a necessary client for me to have. I do want to say that when you are doing something like this for the Lord, there will be opposition from just people around you telling you oh, this is a crazy idea, or oh, this isn't very smart because you're starting a business where you're not really earning anything and you have tons of loans to pay off. That was very much a real thing for me, and it still is, honestly. But I think it's very, very important to remember that if God has given you a mission and he has revealed to you your God-given calling, that calling should not be secondary to anything. That should be what you are running towards and actively seeking, because that is the thing that he called you to do. It is the single-handed most important thing, because if you know what your calling is and you're not operating it, or you're not chasing it, you're living in disobedience to God. And I knew that, and it was very hard for people around me to try to tell me to, take the easy way out, just find a full-time job that pays consistently, and how much you're getting a month, and you're making a lot of money and things like that. It's a quick and fast and easy way. And yeah, that is very tempting, to not have to wait on God to deliver something. It is easy to just go and apply for a job, get it, and just get paid, In that same way that God told me to stop looking for jobs, that didn't go away. I very much feel to this day that is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And there's many times where I was disobedient and I got impatient and was pressured from just the environment around me to go look for jobs, and I did. And I cannot tell you how much turmoil I felt during that. The peace was gone. I felt like I was living in disobedience to God, because even though that's not a sin for someone else to look for a job, it was a sin for me, because he knows that I know that he told me what to do already, and he wants me to focus on that first and foremost. So I just think that's very important to know, because that's honestly just what comes with operating in your God-given calling. You will have people telling you that you're crazy. And sometimes when it gets to me, the peace of God surpasses all of that. God will make sure that you are not tempted beyond what you can handle. Even though people around me were telling me that I need to pursue something else, or it wasn't enough, God was letting me know that it was enough, and that he was going to be with me through all of it, because he literally is the one who makes it all happen. Which leads me to the second client that I got. This time I also prayed and fasted. Again, it wasn't really about the client. I think I was praying for clarity about my first client, and just some things that were going on with that. But I was also praying, for my future, for my business. A couple days later, my friend, Marissa, she calls me and she tells me that there's this girl that she met in a coffee shop, I think 3 times in a row, who's looking for a video editor. God has called her to start a YouTube channel, but she doesn't want to edit her own content. She's not passionate about it. She doesn't have time for it. And that's her blocker, basically. She just needs help. Marissa threw my name out there, and she was so psyched. Like, she wanted to meet me. She wanted to see what my business was all about. So we had a meeting, and guys, like, I cannot tell you like how aligned and sovereign and just intentional God is, and how faith-filled that meeting was. Like, it was amazing. Like, I was like, oh my God, not only did I want to work with this girl, I wanted to be friends with this girl. Like, the meeting went so well. I was like, God, like, this is my second client. And there were also some things that I was going through in regards to pricing. There were some issues that happened with my first client, and it caused me to have a lot of stress and anxiety about my pricing, because I feel like that was something that I was still navigating. I felt like I knew the mistakes that I made with my first one that I didn't have to take into this new relationship with my new client. It was crazy because my new client, her name is Bria. I love you, Bria, if you're watching this, but she has just been such a gift from the Lord. Like, more than she even knows. I remember, like, when we started working together, we started our first contract in February. So this is very fresh, guys. Working with her, like, it was just so nice because we're both faith-filled people. We both love Jesus. So working together made it that much easier, because we just leaned on each other. We prayed for each other. You know, I pray about my pricing all of the time. But I felt like I just really needed that confirmation from God that what I was doing was right, because I don't want to overcharge and I don't want to undercharge, right? I remember, like, when I first met with Bria, I remember her telling me whatever the prices that God put on my heart, she would pay that. And I was like, wow. Like, I went into that meeting thinking I would have to defend and like explain my pricing and go into deep depth about like why I was charging this. God is just so faithful in that way. Like, he knew I was worried about that part, and he sent me someone who was just ready to work with me and who already trusted me without knowing me. Like, I think it was because, you know, Marissa put in such a good word for me. Love you, Marissa. That she just knew that I was operating out of the Holy Spirit. I remember there was one day, this is when we're already working together. It was when I was stressing about my pricing and stuff. She sent me this voice message about how whatever prices that me and God have settled on, don't change them. Before we even worked together, like, we just had so much peace about it. Like, we knew that God was in this and that this is what he wanted us to do. That is currently where I'm at right now. I am working with Bria. She is such a beautiful woman of God, and I just love working with her to help advance the kingdom and make content like for his glory. One of the biggest things that the Lord has taught me through this is, if he has given me this calling and this passion, he will not just leave me in it. You know, like, he will give me the tools, he will give me the clients, he will give me the resources, the funds to do everything. He has just been so faithful in every step, and like, it makes me feel crazy for even doubting him when I'm going through tough times. It's hard, like, month by month, because you don't know what every month is gonna look like. It makes sense that God wants me in something like this, because it requires me to have even more trust and dependence on him and have more communication with him than I would ever need to have in a regular 9-to-5. He's shown me what happens when you obey him. It may not look like how you think it will, but trust me, it is always, God's plan is always 10 times more beautiful than anything you could have ever planned for yourself. Because like I said, I did not want to own a business, never did that once crossed my mind. Like, I was allergic to leadership, like all throughout college. Like, the Lord was preparing me for this. If God is calling you to do something, don't be hesitant. Like, go after it. Even if like it's not really something that you want to do, trust in the Lord that he will give you the desire over time to do the thing that he has called you to do. Because although that wasn't necessarily my story, I know that it's probably others, and it might make it a little harder, but God is always faithful and he knows what he's doing. So I feel like you can truly trust in his character and who he says he is, because I have never seen him contradict himself from his word. You have such a beautiful calling if God has called you to do this, and it means that he has an immense amount of trust and faith in you. Because let me tell you, if he's called you to do this, then he knows that you can. You do not need to know everything, number one. Knowledge is acquired over time, and God gives wisdom for those who ask for it. That's another thing. Ask for wisdom. This is the only book you need, okay, to succeed in life. I'm going to try my very best to steward this gift well, because it is a gift and it's not my business, it's his business. I thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to plug, okay? But if you do need a video editor for your YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, I'm your gal. I would love to help you out. You're a real one if you sat through this whole testimony. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions or any prayers. If you guys need encouragement, just let me know. I will be happy to pray for you. I will lift your name up to the Lord because I know that this journey is not easy. I love you guys. I will be praying for you guys. I don't know if there'll be a next video, honestly. I'm just being obedient to the Lord of what he told me to do today. So I will see you in the next video, maybe.